The Arbour Boys Boxing Club in the East End of London, the sort of club where organised boxing first started in the last century. Boxing's always been one of the traditional ways for boys to prove to themselves and others that they're young men, tough and able to look after themselves in an area where the toughest often come out on top. Today, toughness is still one of the reasons why boys come.
Boxing does make a man of you. If boys keep on starting on you, your mum or dad might tell you to go down boxing, you know, build yourself up. And you might come up to them one day, bob a boy, you know, and smack him in the mouth and they forget all about it.
Many of these clubs have produced champions. At 18, Charlie Magri is the light flyweight champion of Great Britain. What's in it for him?
I'm proving something to myself, yeah. Try and prove that I'm better than most other boys.
Don't fight fast, not afraid.
So, is boxing making boys more aggressive, or is it helping them let off steam?
Before I started boxing, I used to be a bit of a bully, but I didn't used to get nowhere. Too small, I used to get beat up all the time. But since I've joined boxing, I ain't been aggressive at all in the street. I ain't had no fights at all. It's just been in the ring. The aggression comes out in the ring. When you box, you got to calm down a bit more. Your aggression's still there, but that fighting instinct goes. There's more skill.
Recently, some boxing clubs have noticed a drop in numbers. Are East End boys suddenly less interested in fighting? Doesn't being tough appeal to them anymore? Or have films like this got something to do with it? The legendary Bruce Lee fan club is run from a small bedroom in West London by Rhona McVay.
Dear Rhona, I do not believe Bruce Lee is dead, but if he is, God rest his soul. Can you please let me know when Man and Legend will be released? And if there is a Kung Fu club in Barnsley?
In 1 year, she's had 50,000 letters, many from teenagers. The girls, of course, all ask for pictures. But why are so many boys interested?
Well, because I think he plays the underdog in all these films, but he always comes out on top, and it's mostly the sort of shy types that write. You know, you get a lot of please don't laugh at me, but I'd like to be as good as Bruce Lee. And I think most of the kids, it's a way of warding off the bullies, and this is how they see themselves. If they're pushed around, they can handle themselves like Bruce Lee did.
Following their hero, many fans are fancying themselves as instant kung fu champions, do-it-yourself style. Many are alarmed about what could happen, because the untrained heroes of the playground have no idea what real kung fu is all about. For that, you have to go to a good kung fu club. The lesson starts with meditation. A lot of boys like Lee admitted that they first came here to become tough self-defence fighters, and was surprised by the calm and quiet atmosphere.
I try and go within myself to feel what's going on inside me. Just relax and let myself go, because this takes away the stress of the day.
Correct breathing allows the body to release what the Chinese call its inner power, or qi. It's called soft kung fu because you give way to your opponent's strength and deflect it, instead of blocking it with your own strength. Closing the eyes helps to concentrate on finding the weak point in an opponent's force.
That's right. Lightly. That's good.
The exercises look relaxed, graceful, even artistic, which is what Vivian liked about kung fu.
It's getting all your bad feelings down, keeping them down, and there's no tension in it at all. And it generally makes you feel very happy normally afterwards. It's affected me in the way that I'm not so tense all the time, and I can take things more easy. And
1.
A relaxed, supple body, balance and speed are more important than physical strength. It's more a way of life than a self-defence, where you train the mind first, the spirit second and the body third. Respect for Che Su, their master, and for each other comes naturally. The ceremony of the shielded fist shows that no aggression is meant when they do their sparring exercises. There are no sporting contests here. Che Su thinks that they bring out the worst in people.
We actually, in our training, remove the will to win, because in the training it becomes non-aggressive, because it is the will to win that teaches aggression. Not one of these members would go out to attack anybody first. They'd rather walk away. You learn to discipline your mind, body and your spirit, so you become one with yourself. Having become one with yourself, then you eventually will become one with others, and therefore you all become brothers and sisters.
There's not much talk about mind, spirit and meditation here, because here at the Crystal Palace Club they do hard kung fu. Here, physical power meets physical power head on. To be good at it, you've got to be a certain type of person.
Give in.
You've got to be vicious-natured, really. You've got to have it in you all the time. You can't really be taught to be aggressive.
The exercises are designed to make the body hard, tough and really strong, because in the hard style you're taught to overcome physical strength with even greater physical strength. All the members hope one day to be as strong as their master, Hungarian-born Lajos Jacob.
First of all, if you practice at this Willy, you have to be aggressive. You have to have a killer instinct in you, because if you don't have a killer instinct in you, you are not good.
Hard Kung Fu is strictly for self-defence, but it's very aggressive. There aren't any girls here, and boys under 16 aren't allowed to come unless they have their parents' permission, because the master believes they couldn't control themselves in moves like these. At 14, Jim and Phil are the youngest members.
My main motive was self-defence and, you know, to build up my body because, you know, I always used to be, you know, small and thin. I've always been thin. So I come up here, you know, and I find I am getting tougher.
With all this kicking, throwing, pinching the nerves and biting, why don't all this attract people who'll try and use it in the streets?
The trouble with over-aggressive and bullied people is when they come up, they don't like being bullied back. Here, we know just how much to do to each other, what to give out. We give what we take. And the other way around, we take what we give, innit? But bullies and that, they come up here and then they leave. Shut up! I've never lost my temper. I've never felt over-aggressive. The only aggression that comes out is already in me.
And if any bullies do come, the master has his own way of dealing with them.
If anybody came here who is pretend he is tough or bully boys, first of all, I give him a good hiding and I don't take him in. And I have no rule. If you lose a tempo, it's chopped out. Oh, not too hard.
They have their own kick-fighting competitions. Master Jacob believes that sporting competition is the only way to keep people interested in Kung Fu.
Next two, please.
He's already training the first professional kick fighters and hopes that this will one day become as popular as professional wrestling. Another martial art is karate. It too has a violent reputation. Perhaps because of stunts like this. But at this Dagenham club, they regard this as a bit of a gimmick, reserved for public demonstrations because the public expects it. A karate club evening is a lot different. Karate is Japanese for empty hand and started as unarmed self-defence combat in Japan when weapons were banned in the Middle Ages. At this club, the master, or sensei in Japanese, is Tiki Donovan, the British karate champion. The Japanese flag and language emphasise the origins of karate. Sensei Donovan believes the opening ceremony is necessary to show respect for the sensei and the practice room, which the Japanese call the dojo, because with respect comes self-control, and in karate, self-control is very necessary. The first part of the evening is spent working on blocks, punches and kicks, and most important of all, learning self-control. The exercising leads up to a kata, the most important part of any karate evening. A kata is a series of precise moves that takes many months to get right. To get it right, you need absolute concentration and absolute discipline. You can almost see aggression coming out, but does it make people more aggressive? Is that what they come for?
Everybody's got aggression in them. You find that when some people come in on a beginner's course, you look around and you can see some are really aggressive. You know what they're there for. But as the beginner's course goes on, they sort of seem to die down. They gradually die down. He's forgot, again, he's forgot this aggressionness of learning to fight, and now he wants to master the techniques which he can't do, which all of a sudden the instructor's saying, well, do this, and he's finding he can't do it, and he can only do it by training, and his mind goes onto this so much that he forgets his aggressionness for fighting, and now his aggression goes on himself trying to learn this technique. And then you get another sort of student who comes in who's very quiet, and as he trains along, you can see his bit of aggression starts coming out of him. You know, it's so in the end you're sort of getting the same level. You know.
Sensei Donovan is a very strict master. He insists that all movements be just right, because he knows how dangerous karate can be in the hands of someone who hasn't learnt to control his moves.
If a man comes in as a bully and he wants to learn it just to go out and fight, he will leave long before he's learned anything that can make him be this way, because the discipline is so strict. A bully doesn't like being told what to do, and when he comes to learn karate, he's got to be told what to do, when to move, when not to move, when to stand still, when to brush his hair, you know, it's very strict. I was very aggressive at school and was always in fights and things like this. And then when I went to learn karate, the same thing in mind, you're thinking to yourself, if I could learn to do this and that, you know. But then you've got to accept so many people better than you that it just sort of gradually died out, and again you forgot that, and you was trying to master techniques that your body couldn't do.
Members aren't allowed to spar for 6 months, because it takes at least that long to learn the self-control needed to do karate safely. And it takes even longer than 6 months before you're allowed to do competition fighting. Although they put a lot of force into their moves, they must learn to hold back at the very end and stop short of causing serious damage. All the girls and boys under 16 aren't allowed to do competition fighting. karate is really about self-control, and it's so difficult to achieve that sometimes even the champions can lose it.
3 years ago, my aggression came out. I was in the British Championships at Manchester, and there I lost my temper. It was in a competition. It started going wrong. First I hit too hard, then he hit too hard. We was both gave a warning, and then a punch come back, which I thought was too hard, and I lost my cool and went steaming in, as you'd say. The referee told me to stop, which I carried on. So that was it, I was disqualified. I had an argument. I showed disrespect to my instructor then. And so I was wrong again, and it all built up. So they said I was banned by the British Karate Control Commission from competition for 1 year. That made me come back to earth when I had to go and watch the British team fighting, where I should have been in it, and I couldn't fight. And I thought that taught me a lesson. Masvidati, Seiza.
The evening ends with meditation, so that members calm down and don't take the aggression out into the streets afterwards.
Sensei ni domo arigatou gozaimashita. Right? Senpai ni domo arigatou gozaimashita. Right?
Perhaps the martial arts could be one of the answers for people who do take their violence out into the street. So, what do you think?